Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome to Leisure Gaming. I am Leisure. Today we are revisiting the Labrynth deck as we receive some new support in the form of a new monster and a new trap, placing this deck at a tier 3 level. And with Chaos Angel on the horizon, this deck is going to get an additional power boost, not to mention we still do not have Labrynth Butler Arius, which will not only make special summoning the queens of this deck even easier, but also setting normal traps and activating those set traps immediately. Before we get started, there are two variants of this deck. One is the IKEA version, and then the other is the trap heavy version. I'm going to be going through the IKEA version today, but at the end I will also show you a deck profile for the trap heavy version if you prefer to go that route. So the reason why this one is called the Labrynth IKEA is because we have a lot more of the Labrynth furniture compared to the trap heavy version. So to start off the deck profile, we have one Labrynth Coup Clock, and you can definitely put this at 2 if you prefer. You can discard this card this turn. You can activate one normal trap card that was set this turn if you control a Labrynth monster. If a card or cards is sent from your hand to the graveyard to activate your normal trap or Labrynth effect or effect except Labrynth Coup Clock while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand or special summon it. Next, we have 3 Maxis to help with the draw power when your opponent special summons, especially in this format where there is a lot of special summoning happening. This card is extremely strong right now. Next are 3 Labrynth Stovey Torby. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, discard one card, and set one Labrynth spell or trap from your hand or deck. If a monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Next, we have 1 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. When a monster in the field activate its effects, or when a spell or trap that is already face up on the field activate its effects, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, destroy that card on the field. Next are 3 Ash Blossoms. And lastly, for the hand traps, we have 1 Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion. When a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can discard this card and negate the activation. If they add a card or cards from the graveyard to the hand, deck, and or extra deck, special summon a monster, card, or cards from the graveyard, or banish a cards or cards from the graveyard. I went a little hand trap heavy here just because I thought it would need the extra protection, and it does come in quite handy from time to time. Surprisingly, even with the additional hand traps, this deck does not brick as much as I thought it would. Next are 2 Labrynth Chandraglair. And you can definitely put this at 3. You can definitely drop some of the additional hand traps that I have. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and discard one card and set one Labrynth spell or trap from your hand or deck. If a monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. Next is 1 Arion, the Labrynth Servant. I don't think you need any more than just this at the moment. You can send 1 normal trap from your hand or that set on your field to the graveyard and special summon 1 level 4 or lower fiend monster from your deck in defense position except Arion the Labrynth Servant. If another monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect, you can draw 1 card, then you can apply the following effect. From your hand, either special summon 1 fiend monster or set 1 spell or trap. Next are 3 Ariana the Labrynth Servant. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Labrynth card from your deck to your hand except Ariana the Labrynth Servant. If another monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect, you can draw 1 card, then apply this effect. From your hand, either special summon 1 fiend monster or set 1 spell or trap. Now when you activate Arion's effect off of the normal or special summon, you're primarily going to be looking for Big Welcome Labrynth. Unless you already have that in hand, then you want to look for Welcome Labrynth. And if you already have those 2 in hand, then you want to look for Labrynth. Of course, we have the Ishizu cards, which comes in very handily for recycling not only your stuff, but stopping your opponent from activating effects in the graveyard. And these are also really great to use if you have Torby or Chandraglair, so that way you can discard this instead of discarding something else that's in your hand that will probably be more beneficial. We have 1 Keldo the Sacred Protector. You can discard 1 other Earth Fairy monster, special summon this card from your hand, then add 1 Exchange of Spirit or 1 card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target up to 3 cards if any in the graveyard, or up to 5 if Exchange of Spirit is on your field or in your graveyard, and shuffle them into your deck. Next is 1 Madura the Sword Oracle. The same thing as the Keldo. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target up to 3 cards in any graveyard, or up to 5 if Exchange of Spirit is on your field or in your graveyard, and shuffle them into the deck. Next is 1 Lovely Labrynth of Silver Castle. Your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to the activation of your normal trap cards. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can target 1 normal trap in your graveyard, set it to your field, but it cannot be activated unless you control a fiend monster. If another monster or monsters leaves the field by a normal trap effect, you can destroy one card in your opponent's hand or the field. Next are 2 Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle, which is the newest Labrynth monster that we received in Master Duel. While you control a set card, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You will only use each of the following effects of Lady Labrynth once per turn. If a Labrynth card or effect of a normal trap card was activated this turn, except Lady Labrynth, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When a normal trap card is activated, you can set one normal trap with a different name directly from your deck. Going on to the spells are 2 Pot of the Extravagance. You can definitely put this at 3 if you prefer by dropping one of the Labrynth cards that I have. We don't really touch the extra deck too often, so it'll come in handy for the extra draw power. At the start of your main phase 1, banish 3 or 6 random face down cards from your extra deck face down. Draw 1 card for every 3 cards banished. Next are 2 Labrynth, and you can definitely drop this to 1 if you prefer so that you can have some room for the Pot of Extravagance. I like having this at 2 because it tends to get destroyed very quickly. If you activate a set Welcome Labrynth normal trap, you can add this additional effect to this card effect at resolution. Also after that, destroy 1 card on the field. Now if you activate a non-Labrynth trap card, you can special summon 1 fiend monster from your hand or graveyard. So this is a great way to recycle your big boss monsters in Lady Labrynth. Going on to the traps, we have 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, where you contribute 1 dark monster with 2500 or more attack and declare 1 type of card, either spell or trap. Look at your opponent's hand, all spells or traps they control, and all cards they draw until the end of their 3rd turn after this card's activation, and destroy all cards of that declared type. This is a great card for the mirror match, along with other decks like Hero, which revolves around a lot of spells, and Runic. 1-dimensional barrier, and this can definitely be placed at 2. You declare 1 monster card type, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, or Pendulum. For the rest of this turn, neither player can special summon monsters of the declared type. Also negate the effects of monsters of that type while they are on the field. This is such a great card to have because if you can figure out what your opponent is playing and you play this early, usually they surrender. We have 3 Infinite Impermanence, where you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and negate its effects. Then if this card was set before the activation and is on the field at resolution, for the rest of the turn, all spell and traps effects in that column are negated. Now you can activate this card from your hand if you control no cards on the field. Next are 2 Dogmatica Punishments. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, send 1 monster with an equal or higher attack from your extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that monster. Until the end of your next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. We have 3 Welcome Labrynths, where you special summon 1 Labrynth monster from your deck. Also until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the deck or extra deck except fiend monsters. If a monster leaves the field by your normal trap effect while this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can set this card. And lastly, we have our second newest card that was introduced, Big Welcome Labrynth. Special summon 1 Labrynth monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, then return 1 monster you control to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 fiend monster you control, or if you control a level 8 or higher fiend monster, you can target 1 card your opponent controls instead and return that card to the hand. Now when you activate Big Welcome Labrynth, your primary target is going to be your Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle because she'll be special summoned to the field. Big Welcome Labrynth will have that card then sent back to your hand, and because you activated a normal trap card during this turn, you will then re-special summon her from your hand. Now if you have things on the field such as Labrynth or Ariana or Lovely Labrynth, those additional effects will also go off. Also to note, if you have Big Welcome Labrynth and Welcome Labrynth, you will want to put Big Welcome Labrynth as a chain 1, and then you want to put Welcome Labrynth as your chain 2. So with Welcome Labrynth being at chain 2, you would want to get your Lovely Labrynth to the field first, and then off of the Big Welcome Labrynth, you would want to get your Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle second. Big Welcome Labrynth will activate, you will send back the Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle to your hand, which will then activate your Lovely Labrynth. Going on to the extra deck, and like I said, the extra deck does not really matter except for a few cards. Because of Dogmatica Punishment, we're running Elder Entity Entis. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Now if you can run more than 1, by all means do so, because it will come in very handy with your Dogmatica. The next important card with Dogmatica Punishment is Garuda Wings of Resonant Life. If this card is sent to graveyard, you can draw 1 card. And lastly, we have the 5-headed dragon, and this is here for the attack power because there's not many cards that are out there that are going to be higher than 5,000. And then rounding out the rest of the deck, we have 1 Humming the Kijin. And this will allow you to attack directly, so that way you can go into your Down Nerd Magician. Now you won't use the effect, you will pretty much just go right into your Zeus, which we'll show later. Next we have 1 Baguska, and this will actually come in really handy if you want to stall for time if for whatever reason you have just bricked. 1 Mirrorlogical Aggregator, 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, 1 IP Masquerina, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer, 1 Muckcracker from the Underworld, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Selene Queen of the Master Magicians, 1 Access Code Talker, and my favorite, 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Now, I did mention that there is a trap heavier version, and it will look something like this. As you can see, we got rid of all of the furniture cards, and now we're running 2 Lord of the Heavenly Prisons. And unfortunately, with the trap heavy version, we tend to see a lot of floodgates like Rivalry of Warlords, Skill Drain, and the Gozen match. Just like the IKEA version, you can make some additional room. If you want to drop the additional field spell to add a 3rd Pot of Extravagance, by all means do so. You can actually drop some of the hand traps and add 2 Dimension Shifters or Effect Veilers if you want to add those just for the additional protection. So that's it for the deck profile for Labrynth IKEA. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, go ahead, leave it a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below which version you guys are playing. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Later.